Welcome to the Refine and Shine, the podcast dedicated to mastering the art of continuous improvement and optimizing every aspect of your life. I'm Angelina Rivera, your host, and together we'll uncover the secrets to refining our lives, our habits, and our processes to unlock our inner brilliance. Join us on Refine and Shine, where we'll delve deep into achieving more in life without the burnout and without all the stress. This podcast is your platform for a more fulfilling life through continuous improvement and personal growth. In each episode, I and a diverse array of guests discuss practical strategies for up-leveling every aspect of your life. From developing good habits and organizing your space to refining your mindset and personal goals, we're going to explore it all. Our guests share personal stories about the systems they've developed or systems they've used and the tweaks they've made in their lives when refinement was needed, allowing them to truly shine. Listen to Refine and Shine to learn how you can implement continuous improvement techniques in your daily routine, develop and maintain healthy habits that lead to success and satisfaction, organize your life to reduce the stress and increase your productivity, foster a growth mindset that propels you to new heights. My mission is to inspire you to take bold action, make positive changes, and become the best version of yourself. Whether you're aiming to elevate your career, nurture meaningful relationships, or enhance your overall well-being, Refine and Shine is your guiding light. With over 25 years of experience in continuous improvement, I help businesses streamline their processes, establish efficient work areas, and implement standard work protocols. I have trained over 600 individuals and teams in process improvement, optimizing workflows, and enhancing overall operational efficiency. Tune in every week as we embark on an enlightening journey, exploring paths to refinement and illuminating the way to shine in every area of our lives. Subscribe now and join us on this journey to polish your life and let your best self shine through. Thank you for joining us on Refine and Shine. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Refine and Shine podcast. I'm super excited today about my guest. She is a dear friend of mine. I can say that. We were just catching up before the show started, before we hit record, but she is one of those people that if you need her to pray for you, she will stop what she's doing and she will pray for you. You can be at a party, a concert, so to speak, and she can look at your face and know that you need prayer and she's going to pray for you. She's been very instrumental. She's a very good, faithful friend of mine who I love to call on when I need it, but not only just to call on when I need it, because I know she'll help me guide me, but just because I love the love and the spark that she gives me. She's just one of those amazing people. And so my guest today is Gail Mussman. And so let me talk to you and share a little bit about her bio. Like many women, she wears many different hats. She is a Christian entrepreneur with a passion for all things health and wellness. She brings over a decade of experience working in women's health as an RN and an IBCLC. Through her professional journey, she has seen firsthand how broken the current medical model can be. 8 years ago, she began studying and researching natural alternatives to improve her own health. That personal quest evolved into a professional calling. Now, as a certified lifestyle and fasting coach, she believes that true health begins when individuals take responsibility for their own bodies. By blending her medical background with holistic health coaching, she empowers women in their 40s and 50s and beyond to take control of their health, using tools like fasting, hormone balance, and personal lifestyle changes to boost not just physical wellness, but overall vitality. She's also a wife, she's a mom, she's a bonus mom, and a Grammy to 5, a title she proudly calls her favorite. In her free time, she loves being outdoors and connecting with nature whenever possible. If you follow her on social media, you'll see her with her daily walks with her weighted vest. It's all the things. And so thank you, Gail, for saying yes to this today.
Oh, thank you so much. It's always so interesting to have something read about you to you while you're just taking it in. So I receive all that you say and appreciate you so much. It's going to be a fun, juicy conversation.
Oh, yes, I love that. I love that. what I love about you is that you have such strong convictions. You like will say you say what's on your mind, but you don't say it quickly, and you stop, pause, and think. And I just wanted to know, have you always been like that, or is that something that you developed later on in life?
I think age has so many benefits, and that may be one of them. Um, there are times when it requires you to speak quickly and to voice opinions, and then there are times to hold back, watch your tongue, and make sure that what comes out is really what you want to have received by someone else. Don't do it perfectly. I never would say that I do it perfectly, but I'm a work in progress. And I think it's the biggest gift that we can give to ourselves, because how many times do we say things and then beat ourselves up over sometimes a long period of time, wondering, why did I say that? I didn't mean to say that, or it was just all the things. So,
Yeah, I just love that about you. One of the things I wanted to talk, and we kind of were talking offline before we started talking, but you have been through a lot, and and there's many chapters to your story, as you would say. But one of the things that I really wanted to talk about, and I think that it's important, is that when people look at you today, they don't know all the things that you've been through, right?
mhm.
They see this perfectly um, human who is out there with her with walking her, she walks her dog, she just looks healthy. She can wear a sports bra and look just great in her sports bra, but she doesn't just, I mean, she it hasn't always been that way, and you have been through a lot of things in your life. And so I one of the stories, or one of the things I'd love to share is how did you get started on really talking about taking care of your health and all the things that you got to the person that you are today? Because what people see is the person you are today, but they don't understand the person you were and the journey that it took to get to where you are today.
I Before I elaborate on that, I just,
Mhm.
we all have a story. Everybody has a story. And so I think it behooves us to, like, again, pause before we talk or react or answer a question or whatever it is, because everybody has a story. And I know that there have been people over the years that have said, you don't understand what it's like to be overweight. You don't understand what it's like to whatever, whatever, whatever. And I do. And even if I didn't understand, you don't know that unless you know me. And so it's always good. Everybody has a story, to listen to their story. But I was put in my first diet. I hate the word diet, but I'm going to use it. Put in my first diet when I was 12. Went
Oh,
to a
wow.
doctor just for a school physical. The physician, took my weight, my vitals, and said, kind of at the end, we were from a small town, so my mom they were in conversation. She's overweight for her age. Here's a diet plan. It was, restrictive, 1,500 calories for this 12-year-old girl. And my mom took it and we said goodbye. And I can remember walking out of that room holding back tears. And it really just right today, it even brings emotion to me, because I remember that little girl. She's still there. Um, she's healing, never healed. So it always is kind of tender. Um, that was back in the day where, you got in the back seat of this car with no seat belts, and I got in the back seat and kind of scrunched down and cried all the way home. And my mom had the radio on and was not paying attention. And I got home, went to my bedroom, and nothing was ever talked about. Nothing changed in our home. It was never discussed. It was like I wasn't worthy even of a different lifestyle. I know my parents didn't know better. And my mom was fighting her own, she had MS, so she was fighting her own things. And so I started overweight as a child, not feeling good about myself, not feeling like I was good as other people. And my brother was really good at everything. And he was a professional motocross, racer. And and so it just was hard to see anything other than the outside. And when you see your mom also looking in the mirror and being critical of the way that she looked, and then just, kids can be so mean. I got to my 20s and had a time not undiagnosed, but of some eating disorder, just trying to figure it out. And that was in the 80s, where it was either restriction dieting or you didn't do anything. He said there wasn't a lot of female encouragement to even work out at that time. And so that's where I started, is doing a lot of things wrong. But I did see my mom have health problems and a cupboard full of medication that when I got to be old enough, I knew I did not want to go down that path. And so I did some things right and I did a lot of things wrong, but I started. And I had a roommate that her and her boyfriend loved to work out, and that was my first experience. My family didn't do any of that. So I started working out, and I've just progressed. I've researched, I've looked at different things, different people. And then 7 years ago, 8 years ago, um, this is maybe I'll stop here because I know that you wanted me to talk a little bit about my cancer journey. And so that's kind of where this will kind of come together.
Yeah, so that one I understand where how that must have felt to be at 12 years old and to hear the words "you're overweight," and how that could be, because I was on the opposite end. My family was we were very poor. Um, Government cheese. We were in line to get the bread, the government cheese, the butter, the peanut butter, where you have to stir the butter up and all the things, the peanut butter. And I remember just living a very different, like, when I think about it today and how my mom made things work, I was just like, how did she make that amount of money? Like the grocery budget last us all, a family of, at the time, six kid, or when she had six kids, and then, herself to feed seven people. That was really hard. But then I see that. So we were kind of what people may consider very underweight. Didn't hit 100 pounds until very later into my adulthood. Where now I struggle because I sometimes feel like maybe now I'm over, like I eat, like what I could say is we felt like never food was not wasted. And then so as I started to have my own family, I was like, oh, we gotta, if the kids didn't want, we gotta finish it and make sure that we eat it, leftovers or whatever. You don't throw away food, right? Because
Yeah.
having that scarcity mindset. But I love, and not, I don't love the fact that you had to, where you had to develop, like, you have those eating disorders. You didn't develop them, but it came to you because you're just in that comparison, not knowing what is the right fit. And I know that a lot of people still suffer from that today, is like, what is the right fit? What is the right model? And when you even look at Barbie standards, like when you look at her proportions, they're not the tiny, skinny model, or even when you look at like what Marilyn Monroe might have been, her sizes and stuff. But we just have this thought in our heads. And so when we look at that ourselves in that mirror, we don't love what we see at times. And so we have to gain that confidence and things like that. And I love to share how you shared about part of that is the healing work and doing that healing work to make sure that you get through so that you love yourself. You love yourself no matter what size you are. And I think that's important. And so I thank you for bringing
I
that
will
up.
interject here. I'm sorry to interrupt, but when you're talking about your family, it just reminds me, my parents were self-employed. They both worked in a business together. We didn't have regular paychecks,
Mhm.
but for decades, food has been available in a box, manufactured somewhere in a lab. And
Mhm.
we did a lot of that.
Yeah.
And so we had in our business, we had a pop machine. And as a kid, I had unlimited access to pop. So there's lots of different disparities and lots of
Mhm.
different ways that people come into not being healthy. And so it health is available to all, no matter how much money you have or don't have. So I just want to
Right.
encourage everyone that it's possible to change the way that you grew up thinking that health, or maybe you weren't taught anything about health, because it is a responsibility, moms and dads, to teach and model how to take care of yourself. And that doesn't mean looking in a mirror and feeling that you have to be perfect or putting yourself down when you look in a mirror, but it does mean going out for family walks and buying fresh when you can, going to farmers markets when you can, or just doing the little things. It's never a big thing. My walk into health has never been one big whoosh. It's been lots of little steps and lots of change in direction. Sometimes I go straight, sometimes I take a right, sometimes I take a left, but I continue. So sorry to take us off
No,
for
no.
a little bit there.
No, no, you bring up some great points, and I agree. Like, and I even what you said in your bio is the health is available to all of us. Like,
Yeah.
it's our choice. We are the ones that can make that choice of what we want to put into our bodies, and we all have that choice. And so, and it is the same as moving our bodies and things like that. Going for a walk is free, and
Yeah.
maybe just make sure you have some decent size, decent shoes, but just go for a walk. And there's lots of different things. You can do planks, and I even see your shirt that says planks on it. Uh, you could do planks. There's all these things that you can do that you don't have to have a gym membership. But the thing is no matter what it is that we're going through, we have to make that choice, and nobody can make that choice but you. And maybe we can't
Yeah.
control the way that we were, food was what we ate when we were little, because we didn't control that. We weren't controlling the budget, and we weren't making the meals until we got to the age where we were making the meals. But what I was saying is just no matter what our circumstances are, once we become adults, we are in control of that, and we can model it. And maybe our parents didn't always make the best choices, or maybe we're not parents anymore, or we don't have little ones, but we can always model what the right kind of health looks like. And I think that's
Yeah.
important.
I like how Ed Milet says in The Power of One, you can be that first generation to break the curse.
Mhm.
It's available to anyone. And it doesn't take education, special education. I might have some letters behind my name, but they don't really mean anything at the end of the day, because I know a lot of people in healthcare that have poor health, and they have got
Yes.
lots and lots of letters behind their name. So
Oh.
it really is just making a decision and keeping a promise to yourself and being intentional and not expecting a change immediately.
Mhm.
I really like to say, when someone comes to me and wants to talk about losing weight, I back it up and I say, I really want you to think about getting healthy, because once you get healthy, you've developed a trust in your body, and your body's going to trust you and do what it was made to do. The weight will come as a side effect of getting healthy, not the other way around. We think I'll lose weight to get healthy. Uh-uh. You get healthy to lose weight.
I love that. I love that. I think that's so important. And we started talking about it, but we put it on pause. But one of the things I wanted to share or talk about a little bit is that you also had a breast cancer journey. Can you talk to us a little bit about that journey as well?
Yeah. I have no family history of breast cancer. I have dense tissue, lumpy bumpy, which makes it always difficult. I had a lot of recalls. Go back, let's do another scan, let's do a biopsy, and everything always turned out until it didn't. I was in nursing school as a non-traditional student, meaning I was 49 years old. I went in, I owned a day spa for 22 years. I was working at my spa, giving a pedicure. Never forget it. Got a call from the doctor. Doctors never call unless there's something that you don't want to hear. And I got the news. Didn't didn't beat around the bush too much. That I had cancer and I needed to She's an oncologist. I started my health journey wrong. Lots of areas were real messy, but if you would have looked at me, you would have thought she's really a healthy woman. And I was exercising most days. I was vegetarian. Since I was like 16, I'd been vegetarian. And I was just like shocked. I really didn't think that I was going to have breast cancer. But I did. And so I had a lot of support. I had a lot of people also really encouraging me to quit nursing school. And I really think it was, well, for one, it was God's plan. He put me there after an abusive marriage and a remarriage later to an amazing man that supported me and still supports me in all my crazy ideas and all the things. That I went back to school for a reason and a purpose. And so I went through nursing school, going through maximum chemo radiation. And if you are not able to do that, if you have a diagnosis and you have to give up things, have no shame or no guilt in that. We're all different. I don't want anyone to compare themselves to me. It's just my journey and
Mhm.
maybe my obedience to what I felt like God wanted me to do. It was a great way for me to not wallow in my situation, and I was able to be around people. We weren't even masking then. And had young people around me, and it was really encouraging. Like they would carry my book bag, and like they were really, really helpful and understanding. When I lost my hair, I told them in advance that I was gonna, because it was kind of falling out pretty quickly, that I was gonna just go have it shaved. So I prepped them, and it was really a if you can call it a good experience, but it taught me so many things about resilience, about keeping promises, about doing things that are hard, proving to myself that I can do hard things, and getting through on the other side. Now, 15 years cancer free in a diagnosis. It was caught early, but it was considered pretty aggressive in my 40s, and so that's why I had to do maximum treatments. But I also feel like anytime you have a surgery or you have a diagnosis, if you come in healthy, you're fighting. Your chances are of fighting that and getting through it better than someone that has poor health, that hasn't honored their body, hasn't taken very good care of themselves. It's just going to be more difficult. So I was grateful that I came into the diagnosis in fairly good health, and I came out of it. I ran somewhat through treatments. I did some things that, for me, it was my mental health.
Mhm.
I really needed that in my life. It had been a part of my life for a long time, and I felt like cancer cheated me already. I wasn't going to let it cheat me out of any more than I had to. So, yeah, it was hard and beautiful. And would I do it again? No, I wouldn't want to go through that again, but it was part of God's plan for me. And there's always a reason for us to go through things, because it went through his hands. And if you trust him, and he's very trustworthy, then you take the good and the bad and in between, and you just praise him and wait for what you need to learn from all of it.
Yeah, I love what you said. I mean, like sometimes people will be like, why God, why did you do this? And instead of asking him the why, like what is the lessons that he wants me to learn out of this? And I love how
Or
you said,
why not me? Why
yeah,
not?
yeah, yeah. I love that. And I love that, here you are 15 years later, cancer free. And I love how you said about the not only the health, that being a healthy person, but it's also the mindset, having the right mindset. I know that like when you have the negative mindset, it's gonna not, you're not, if you, it's always like the Eeyore type, from Winnie the Pooh. If you're always negative, then nobody's going to want to be there to help care for you, or your mind just goes into bad places. So you have to surround yourself with positivity and have that positive mindset. And not, I mean, we can, if we feel sorry for ourselves, we can feel sorry for ourselves for a little bit, but just like, Kate, you said it, you got it, you maybe journal it out. But then, like, how can I look at this as a positive? What is this lesson going to show me? How can I help others, and all the things? And you have really, you had your spa, but now, in the way that you've done things in life, you, from the last 10 years, have really transformed your life into a different path, where you're helping people um, with their wellness, and not just like, how do I, to be of healthiness, but also what am I eating? What times am I eating, and things like that. So can you share us a little bit about how you got into the holistic side of things and all of the things you do there?
Yeah. I also want to just interject here that no one is responsible for your health but you. We go to a doctor and we want him to hand us something, cure us, fix us. I mean, yeah, they can do that. And sometimes we need it. Like I love natural health, but I also am so grateful for Western medicine because I wouldn't be here without chemo radiation. But I am responsible for my own health. Angelina is responsible for her own health. If we're waiting for someone to, heal us, it's going to be a long wait. But um, after getting through chemo, after getting out of nursing school, I had my first job when I was like 55, 56 in a hospital working the overnight shift. And it was tough. It was real tough. And brain fog from chemo is a real thing. A lot of stress from going through cancer and treatments and nursing school, and still not at that point, I hadn't done any really healing from an abusive marriage of 25 years. So there was a lot of cortisol. There was a lot of in here. And that makes you sick. And so not feeling great. And I was looking for options and went to a doctor just to make sure my blood worked because of my cancer history. Everything looked fine. And of course, he offered, I wasn't sleeping, I had no energy, I had anxiety out of the roof, like I was kind of a hot mess. And he offered some prescriptions. And, my thoughts always go back to my mom. And I not only did I not want to do the medications, but so many of the medications that they offer have side effects, and they have addiction that they don't talk about. And I didn't want any of that. And so I thanked him, but said no thanks. And I just started looking at supplements. I'd taken some supplements before, and never thought of them in any great way, just like, oh, we should take a multivitamin. And I knew we needed an omega and, those kinds of things, but ran across gut health and researched it and felt like there was a lot of validity to that, especially since my whole body was wiped out with chemo, that I needed to rebuild. Some good rebuilding needed to happen. And so I started working on my gut health through a supplement company called Plexus. And I saw, and I'm also very attuned to my body. So someone taking them, I know a lot of times, because their mindset is like, a lot of times women especially, oh, I want to lose weight. You don't see the little things changing in your body. You don't see your body cueing you and talking to you, which it always does. But I noticed some small things that meant a lot to me, like bloating, and sleep was starting to get better. And it was like, a mustard seed that started to grow and grow. And then you see different things changing. And so that's what started um, really going down a really deep healing of my own body. I always say that everything I do, I experiment on myself. I don't ever want to be the person that says, do this and maybe it'll work because I heard it'll work, or I was trained in it and they said it would work. Like, I do it. And so, started making some really big changes. Didn't go in for weight loss. I don't own a scale. That's never my intention, but my intention is longevity. I'm 64. That's a real thing. It's one thing to live to 90 or whatever age that God allows us, but it's another. I'm right now, my dad's in hospice and watching him go through Alzheimer's, and my father-in-law with macular degeneration at 93, falling recently, having a really bad fall. Seeing people that haven't taken care of themselves and what aging looks like. And for most people, and I would go as far as to say 93% of the population are going to hit this latter part of their life where they may not be working. It should be really the time of their life. Their kids are grown, they're enjoying grandbabies possibly, and in the worst health ever. And I do things for her. I do things for that 90-year-old woman, that 90-year-old Gail, that's going to be grateful that I did that for her. Because I don't always feel like doing it. Every day it's hot and humid in Nebraska, and I've got a place where I can either go straight and it's a shortcut home, or I can take a right and take the long route home. And I get there and I have to make a choice every dang time I go there, which I walk every day. So
Mhm.
it is a choice. And I don't do it perfectly. There are times where I take the shortcut. But more times than not, I'm going to keep a promise to myself, and I'm going to go back to Ed Milet's book, and I'm going to do the one more, 1 degree, 1% will land you in a completely different state. It's not, again, we're going to go back, not to the big things or the big changes, or I got to do all this, or I got to fast for 3 days. Like, no, slow it down, sis. Like, one thing, one promise to yourself. Make it easy in the beginning so you can keep the promise, and that promise builds on the next promise, on the next promise, and then pretty soon you're keeping some freaking big promises to yourself.
Yeah, that's like the compound effect, like
Yeah,
with James clearly speaks about in Atomic Habits is,
yeah.
just just gotta take one thing. And if you just like one thing and then maybe like for 1 month consistently take your vitamins, your good supplements, there's some bad vitamins out there too, but making sure you're taking good vitamins. Um, and if you can get that, then you add on another thing. Like now, okay, I'm good with my vitamins, now I'm going to start adding in a walk or, whatever the choice is nobody can say it's a design plan. You have to design your plan that's going to work for you and you know what you can stick with. And also having consistency. And that's one of the things I speak on.
Maybe not stick with, Angelina. I'm going to interrupt that thought there. Nobody goes into something thinking that it's gonna stick. I think that sometimes we're afraid to challenge ourselves. And I think that when it comes to your health, the biggest thing that you can do, I hope if you're listening to this, that you listen really close to this, that if you don't think it's going to work, it's not going to work. You have to see yourself as that healthy person before you take that itty bitty step forward. It is a challenge, but you have to see what you want before it's ever there. Because if you wait, it's just like I said about health. You don't get, skinny, or you don't lose weight to get healthy. You get healthy to lose weight. Same way on the other side. Like, you have to see yourself there before you're actually there. You won't be there. You're like, oh, I'll do it once I've arrived. I'll do it once I lose 10 pounds. I'll do it. You won't get there. You just absolutely won't get there.
Yes, and that's where I was going with was that you have to get clarity on what you
Yeah.
want and then you have to do the work to, you have to see the vision and then just keep doing the reps. You got to do the reps every single day. But you're not going to be able to, like, you're not going to go 0 to 100. You have to put in, consistency but you have to be clear on what you want as well, and making sure that you're making time for it. And that's one of the things I teach with my time management is it's not just
Mhm.
about time management, it's about clarity. clarity on getting clear with your goals and what you want and where you're going to see yourself in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. And what are the daily habits or the daily actions you have to take? And also looking at your energy levels too. If you don't have like good energy, you just got off of work, you're really tired and cranky, you don't go and you need to make dinner, or you don't just go. An easy solution would be to go to a drive-through, right? No, maybe you go for a walk first, get your energy level, decompress from your hard work day, decompress, and maybe you can't go outside because it's hot. Like for me, it's 110 when I get off work. Well, maybe I can walk on that walking pad, or I could play outside with the dogs and get some of that energy level up. Then I can go in and make that dinner. And that way I've had some time to decompress, but also I'm also making the right choices. And I'm not just like, oh, I'm tired, I've got to eat, and then going through the drive-through or, things like that. There's like little things that we can do, and all of us can do them. Like, we're not saying that we don't, everybody has a different life and everybody has different challenges that they're dealing with. But the thing is, you can be clear on what you need for your life, and you can be, see what steps that you can take or what things you have to eliminate, but you have to be the one to decide. What is it that I'm going to do? What is
Mm.
it that I need to do so that I can live to be the 95-year-old me or the 100-year-old me? And that's the thing. And we have to make those choices today, not tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. We aren't guaranteed tomorrow for sure. So it is kind of a human nature to want to put things off. Um, Again, just doing some personal work, some healing, some different coaching, and then I'm going to sprinkle in age as a really, I love where I'm at right now. Statistically, you're going to be 45% of your life, ladies, in that menopause time. So I see so many women kicking and screaming on social media in the community about symptoms and just like all the negative things about menopause. But if we're spending a good chunk of our time during that life cycle, we better figure out some ways to be grateful for it, or to work on some areas of our health and our emotions and whatever's happening. Maybe just an acceptance of aging. There's so much conversation about anti-aging. That comes from a source that we do not want to trust. We should be pro-aging. And it really does matter. Energy is everything. And everything in our body is energy. And if the energy is anti-aging and I have this symptom, and then it's a slippery slip down.
Mhm. No, and I agree. I mean, like, I look at my life right now, like I've been postmenopausal. I got surgery induced menopause, so very quickly than I thought I was ever going to experience. And with that has come some challenges, but it's also, I'm so grateful because I had painful, cycles. I had ovarian cyst. I had the evaluated cancer cells, ovarian cancer cells. I had a lot of things that I was going through. And you think about all the things that I went through, it's just a lot of the doctors just wanted to put band-aids on it, or we'll put you on a pill, or we'll do this or do that or do all these other things. And it's like, wait a minute. And now, because, now that I know more than I did when I was in my 20s, first having these symptoms, I know that the side effects of some of those things have caused some of the issues that I'm having now, but it's up to me to reverse some of those things and getting to the root cause and the fatigue and all the other things. And what can I do? Because I am the only one that can change that. I'm the one that can change the things that, how I think, what I consume. And when I talk about consuming, it's not just food, it's your environment, it's what you listen to, social media, all the things, the news, what you consume, what you read, what you watch. And also, because some of that can lead to some negative mental space and things like that. And when we have negative mental thoughts, we go negative down. We may consume negative food, all the things. It's a spiral. And like you said, energy is everything. So we want to put ourselves around stuff that's energetic, put ourselves around things that give us good. My husband always says he can repeat the vibes. He's like, if it's bad vibes, I don't want to be around it. If it's good vibrations, I'm all for it. And so that's a thing that's also important.
Yeah.
but I think that's also important. But one of the things you also talk about, and you become if you don't mind sharing a little bit about your fasting. You have this fasting education, and can you just tell the women a little bit, maybe and I don't, you mostly work with women on fasting, but can you talk a little bit about what you do and how you help people?
Hmm. Sure. Um, a little over a year ago, I mean, I've done a lot of fasting incorrectly. Um, hence, in my early 20s, having some eating disorder there. But there hasn't been a lot of conversation about fasting for women until really recently. And so I ran across Dr. Mindy Pels. I consider her like the queen. She's been doing it for well over a decade. She's got several books that she's written on it. And I just followed her for a while and really loved how she put it together with the women's hormones in her body. It wasn't just like follow me and do this, do that. Like she wasn't like a guru person. She was like giving the science and talking about, and it just made sense to my brain since I had some of that medical background. And so she at that time it was, she offered her first class, if you want to call it class, to become certified. So I went through and did the hours that I was required to be certified under her. So I'm a certified Fast Like a Girl coach. And I, again, did a lot and I continue to do a lot of experimenting on myself. Made a ton. I mean, I don't even know myself from a year ago in so many ways. I used, like I said, I was vegetarian. God just brought to my mind, like, why are you doing, what's your motive? Why are you doing it? Like, not that it's a bad thing or a good thing, just why are you doing it? We should all ask ourselves questions. We should question ourselves about things. It's okay to do that. The reasons that came out were not great, like pride, and there's a lot of messiness in there. Control was a big one. Um, and so I decided to start eating meat. And so it'd been decades of not eating meat, and I started eating meat. But I started, I the vest. I started doing a vest. I do grounding. I do a lot of things. But fasting for me has been really interesting, and it's been so beneficial. I've struggled with inflammation, and it's really calmed my inflammation down. I had an ablation because I had really hard, heavy periods when I was 40. And so I haven't bled since I was 40 years old. So that's a long time that's how women detox, ladies. So hang on to your cycle, even though you wish you didn't bleed out a cycle, hang on to it, do all you can to keep that, because estrogen also is our neurotransmitters, which is our feel good things. And so you want to have all the feel goods that you possibly can, but the biggest thing in my book is the action of detox. And when you bleed, that's how you detox. We live in a world that's very toxic from top to bottom. And so we carry around a lot of toxins. We have a lot of cortisol spikes, and a lot of people just live in adrenal fatigue because of stress in their life. None of it is beneficial in getting rid of toxins. Our body just hangs on to everything. It's just fight or flight, and it's just trying to keep you alive. It loves you that much. But when you start doing some fasting, your body, again, it's not overnight. It takes time, but it starts to trust you, and it starts to be okay with relinquishing some of the things that it's been holding so tightly. And so that was me. My chapters in my book started years of adrenal fatigue and cortisol and lots of things. And so I needed a lot of healing, and fasting can do lots of healing. I wish I would have known about fasting when I was going through treatments, because there's lots of research that supports how beneficial fasting is for cancer treatments. In fact, what feeds sugar so much is sugar. And when you fast, you're giving your body a break from all things. good foods, bad foods, whatever. And so fasting starves off, viral things. Like if you have COVID, the best thing you can do is fast, like it's a virus. So fast it out. But yeah, I love fasting. I help, because I'm a step ahead of other women in menopause. My heart is really to help those women because I know what it feels like to have a doctor tell you that's just the way it is. Like not having energy, gaining weight around your middle section, like anxiety. It's just part of aging. It's part of menopause. Just, do you want to do HRT? Poor thing. But there are options. There are options. And really the best time, I mean, you can fast at any age for sure. And we would put it to your cycle and it's super beneficial. You can either even help women do that and that have had infertility issues and have great success having them get pregnant. Our hormones are everything. And those hormones are based in your gut. So see how God made your body, just put it together so beautifully. But as menopausal women, I know women aren't going to like to hear this, but we need to do hard things. We've been told, like, you retire, you sit in a chair, you shouldn't go after a new business, you shouldn't chase your dreams, you should just like wait to die. That's so long. That's society is just lying to us. But we need to do hard things because that's what our body needs to have longevity. And it goes back to like primal days. The grandmothers went and hiked for 7 hours looking for vegetation and berries while men went out and hunted animals, and they had the children and they probably had them on their back or they carried them some of the way. We were, meant to do hard things, even though, we've been told that it's, you can't, that's too hard for you. It really isn't. So love fasting, love helping women of all ages, but my heart is with my fellow menopausal, perimenopausal women, giving us each hope. Community is everything. Like, we're empty nesters for the most part. And how do you find community, especially if you're retired? Like, where are your people? Like, come on in. This is where your people are. We need that. We need that for our brain. And we've got to figure out ways. And fasting is one of the ways that you can produce oxytocin, some of those neurotransmitters that are missing when you lose your estrogen.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. I think it's so important, especially, for the postmenopausal women or those who are going through perimenopause, all the things. It's like, whether we made that choice or, the doctors made that choice, it doesn't matter. We should, the thing that you said, I love that, is that once we retire or are done raising our children or all the things, we still have a whole other life ahead of us. And we
A
can
whole
make that choice
long
today.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
there is life on the other side, if you're calling it the other side. And actually, Dr. Pels talks so much about this is the time where you get really creative. Like, you can build things. That's how strong you are. That's how powerful you are. And we don't trust ourselves. We don't go into that because we've been told for our whole life, like, grandma's over here and we're over here, and just you're too far into your career to have a promotion. That's a nice way of putting it, right? um, and so it's all a bunch of BS.
Yeah.
It
I say
absolutely
that I'd say that, I see lots of women, including yourself, including myself, that have really started multiple businesses and are, 40s or beyond. And because it's the time, but, you know, it's our time to thrive because we don't, as we let go of other things, we learn to focus on the things that can help us. And multiple streams of income are very important. And I love how you shared. I mean, you started nursing in your 40s, went through was it your 40s that you started nursing or school, or in your 50s?
I was 49 when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so I just, I'd been in the program for a year or so, so my latter 40s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never thought I could do it. Never thought I could do it, but I did it. I did it.
Yes. Yeah. And so there's lots of things that we can do. It doesn't matter, like age is just a number, but the thing that's so important is it starts with your mind making that choice. You are the one that can make that choice of what we consume, what we, our daily walks, how I love that you also mentioned grounding. Grounding is an important exercise, not a tool that we can use to help with that
Breath
inflammation.
work, there's just so many things. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thank you for sharing all of that. But as we wrap up, and I'm going to make sure I share all your links in the show notes so people can connect with you. I always love to ask my listeners, what is one thing, a tool or a word, a phrase, a quote, anything that you could think of, whatever comes to mind that God has given you, to help my listeners today take action to refine and shine?
If you can give me just 1 minute, I wanted to make sure that your listeners realize that fasting has gotten a really bad rap. And it's because the research that's been done for years and years has been done on men. And we are obviously different. We have a lot more hormones than men do. We're different. And so there is a great way to fast that's going to benefit you, whether you're a cycling woman, you're a perimenopausal woman, or you're in menopause or postmenopause. There is a way for women to regain their health, offset Alzheimer's and dementia, because we're at almost a 50% in the next 5 years, primarily women having that issue. So I just want to make sure that, those that hear the word fast and like, oh, it doesn't work, it never worked for me. I would just check and make sure that you're looking at how women should fast, how women should eat according to their cycle or where they're at in their lifespan. So back to your question. I love this phrase, and I love it because I heard it at least a year ago, and I have it on my bathroom mirror with a dry erase mark, and I look at it every day. And even when I don't look at it, it pops in my head because I just need the reminder a lot. How am I participating in my own suffering? It's so powerful. Like, whoever is listening to this, I just challenge you to write it on a piece of paper, journal about it, put it on your bathroom mirror for a while, put it on your phone, whatever works for you. But how are you participating in your own suffering? And we all do it to a certain extent, but it's a choice. It's a choice. And so that's how I would, I guess, encourage everybody to just be in thought about it. We have lots and lots of thoughts, and 95% are not ones that you want to hang on to, but this is one you'd want to hang on to. Not in a negative, put yourself down, drag yourself down with it. Oh, I failed. But just an awareness of what your thoughts are and how you're participating in the things that you really don't want in your life.
I love that. I love that. I'm going to actually write that down. I'm going to put it on I have a dry erase board right behind me, right above my monitor. So I'm going to put that right there. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. You were an amazing guest, and I just appreciate all the things that you've shared. And I would love to follow up because I think that there's, like we said earlier, there's only a few chapters we've been able to talk about your story. But I love to hear so much more, and I know that my listeners will as well. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Fran, so much. It's been a really nice conversation. The things that you shared were amazing. I learned a lot. I always learn from you too.
Thank you. I think it's impactful when we learn from each other.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what's so important.
Yes. Amen to that.
Well, thank you everybody for listening today.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Refine and Shine. We hope you find valuable insights and inspiration to fill your journey of continuous improvement. Remember, the key to success lies in refining your processes and letting your inner brilliance shine. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your feedback is greatly appreciated and helps us reach more listeners like you who are eager to refine and shine in all areas of life. Stay connected with us on social media for updates and additional resources and behind the scenes content. We love hearing from our listeners, so feel free to reach out with any suggestions, questions, or success stories you'd like to share. As we wrap up, remember that the power to transform your life lies within you. Keep striving for growth, embracing change, and seeking opportunities to refine your skills. Together, let's continue to shine bright and make a positive impact in the world. Until next time, keep refining and keep shining.